Doing great. Yeah, they signed off. I think they all wanted to get an early start. And I think usually if, with the Bible study group, if they're extended operation, usually it's just individuals talking, making conversation, not a formal part of what's going on earlier. But yeah, the frequency is not in use, and you're sounding good. And I guess you must be the boss today?
Yeah, it's my turn today. And then Carla next week, and then it goes back to Henry, then me, then Carla, kind of like that. So I was just checking the calendar. It looks like the next time I get the net, it'll be on the 3rd, which is daylight saving time ending on the 3rd of November. So that'll be my next stop after today, I think. So anyway, you're sounding good this morning. Sounding like you're on something interesting again. Sounding good though. You got good audio, great audio. W7MS K0DWC.
Yeah, okay, Chuck. You're sounding fine also. Yeah, I'm back on the BTA 250M like last Sunday. I got such good accolades, but decided it was a chance to exercise another national receiver, so I did a receiver swap at ODark 30 on First Cup of Coffee, and somehow managed to find the appropriate hoses to mute the receiver, so we're up and running. But yeah, well, I guess Carla's back in the rotation. I had a feeling, I wasn't sure if that was a one and done, but then again, make sure she's on her second cup of coffee when she's NCS.
Yeah, that's true. She'll definitely have to be on her second cup of coffee. But yeah, you know, she works on Saturdays and Sundays, and you know, she comes home and she's tired, and I just don't know from which Sunday to the next, if she's going to be overly tired or up early or what. But we still put her in the rotation for being net control. So I'd say next week is probably about a 99% chance she'll be there, but there's always that 0.1% or whatever of uncertainty. But yeah, you're sounding really good on that. That thing really puts out some sweet audio, man. It's soft. It's like your voice is floating on a cloud, you know. But that's a neat setup there with that broadcast transmitter. I think that's the one you said it was rather tall. Is that right? W7MS K0DWC.
I bet I sound better.
Well, I think Vern's got his antenna finished, and we'll turn it to you in a second, Vern. Good morning to you. Yeah, it's more of a standard rack dimension with some mid-century accoutrements to try to jazz it up, but it is rather tall, but also relatively diminutive in the 250 watt class, that it can be in the house, as opposed to some of the other stuff which requires a concrete floor. But yeah, that's fine. Yeah, and this of course came from Mexican radio, Spanish language radio down the road across from the Bonanza Casino, just a few miles away. I think it was, what, 1550 AM. And that's the short version on that. I think I've had it about, what, 15 years now. That was a Bradley N7 RCA, and I went and checked that out. And of course, Brad was sleuthing for, you know, you never know what else might be in that hut. But over to Vern, take it away. We've also got, of course, Chuck on frequency. Go ahead, Vern, W7MS.
Yeah, good morning, Mike and Chuck. 1550 AM. I don't know if that was the California 1550 AM, but that was my first favorite AM radio station. Wonderful Radio Kobe, KOBI, with the top 40. Back in late 1956, they went on the air. I collected all their surveys for a long time before I went in the Navy. And then I found a place back east with that, but yeah, that may be a different station, but that was, boy, that was something. Music, you know, there was a lot of talking back then, and music was there, but they prided themselves on trying to get at least 10 songs in every half hour, which was pretty good. Anyhow, good morning, Mike and Chuck, and back to you. Yeah, I did a ton of antenna rope, antenna wire work. We still got to do the, I cleaned up the coax connector, but I'm going to replace the coax too, or replace the balun. And one of the wires was broken. So when I was running that thing last time, one section of the 80 meter was hooked up, the other section was not. So I was running a quarter wave to center fed, I guess. And then I had the other antenna as an alternate. Yeah, the signals are very strong. I noticed last night when I finished the work, the stations I heard were quite strong. You guys are too. Everyone's over 10 over S9 now, which is great. Over to you, Chuck. This K6 VXY burn in Pine Mountain Lake running a hefty 100 watts this week.
Okay, Vern, K6BXY. Well, good morning to you, and what an improvement. 110% difference, all to the good side. So congratulations on the repair. You sound like your old self again, and we're glad you got that repaired. So good job there. And Mike, I just real quick. Stand by just a second, Mike. You know, I thought for a second I heard Bill in there, N6BCT. Bill, N6BCT, are you on frequency?
Yeah, I heard him also, Chuck. He was there, but not now.
Okay, I'll try again here in just a minute. Mike, how dated is that transmitter, that VTA 250M? Is that a transmitter from the 60s, or is it older than that? Maybe you could enlighten me a little bit. W7MSK0DWC.
Okay, it dates from the early 1950s and was designed to be a cost-reduced transmitter. It has a very limited tube lineup. But the one reason it has exceedingly positive modulation peaks is somehow they managed to push some audio on the RF driver to the 813s, which kind of befuddles me, considering it's kind of Class C sort of but they're adding a little extra audio punch in the RF driver stage. But that's the setup, and it's nothing special as far as I think cool factor from a standpoint of appearance, like some of the much more the other non-cost reduced and earlier transmitters were designed to really, you know, razzle and dazzle from an appearance standpoint. This guy was designed to sit in a cinder block hut in the middle of the cow pasture, surrounded by cow patties.
Okay. Oh wow. Okay, so mid to late 1950s then. Well, I tell you, that sure is a great transmitter, man. Wow. But I guess I ought to try and see if Bill is in there. Bill, are you on frequency N6BCT?
I don't hear Bill, but this is WA7YBS.
Hey, Henry. I can tell you're on something interesting. Good morning, man. I got you in the 3-spot, Henry. WA7YBS. Go ahead and make a transmission, Henry, and you can send it back up to me, K0DWC. WA7YBS. With that interesting signal, go ahead.
Okay. K0DWC, WA7YBS. Henry in Dayton Valley. Good morning. I've heard Mike, and I've heard Vern, and I've heard you. So everybody's got strong signals. So hopefully this little 40 watts from the ATD will be copyable. A little different now. We're running on the dynamotor. Probably hear it running there. It's under the bench or under the desk, so it's really not very loud. And of course, the power supply has 3 fans on it also, and it's not very loud really. So anyway, the ATD carbon microphone and about 40 watts of power to the collinear array, and the receiver is the RBG2. So that's the rundown. Back to you, Chuck. K0DWC. By the way, it was 36 degrees here this morning. Back to you. The WA7YBS.
Okay, Henry. Well, you're sounding good, especially with an original carbon microphone. You got a good sit. Well, you're a mile and a half away, but it will be interesting to hear what Mike and Vern, what kind of report they give you on that. But you're sounding really good here, real carbony. But and I did hear a whine in the background. Even though it was under the desk, I could hear a bit of a whine under there, so I did hear the dynamotor. So great job there. So let's see if there's anybody else who wants to check in and be number 4 for the Vintage Military Radio Net. Come now. Okay, nothing heard. So let me give you the rundown as I got it here. I've only got me and the 3 of you. In the number 1 spot, Mike in MS is number 1. Vern K6VXY is number 2. And Henry WA7YBS is number 3. So we'll make a call out again, see if there's anybody there who wants to check in. It's about 7:17, 7:18 in the morning here. So going to be number 4. You can come now. Okay, nothing heard. So, well, I guess we gotta just go ahead and get started. Hopefully somebody will be checking in here by the time we go through the first set here, the first round. But anyway, good morning to all you fellas. And this is Vintage Military Radio Net. This is Chuck, K0DWC. And I'll be in at control this morning, and we'll be on 3974 KC. The Vintage Military Radio Net is a roundtable AM net. Provides an opportunity for licensed PMs to operate the vintage military radio gear on the air. Military gear is encouraged, but certainly not a requirement. The general topic of radio is preferred, but you know, little things here and there about other things, that's fine too. No biggie. Check-ins will be given a number that can be used in the handoff, and I'll call for check-ins at the end of each roundtable session. If anybody has anything for sale or has a want for something, make sure you mention it in your turn there. So one more time, I got Mike W7MS in the 1 spot, 2 is Vern K6VXY, and 3 is Henry. One more time, and I'll go to the top. Anybody want to check in now? First round, be number 4. Come now. Well, there's Bill. I thought I heard Bill earlier. Bill, you got your Q5 here. I'd be interested to hear what Mike's, how Mike's picking you up. I've got you in the 4 spot, Bill. N6BCT. Is there anyone else that wants to check in and be number 5 for the Vintage Military Radio Net? Come now. Okay, well, Bill, when you're done with your transmission, you can send it back up to me, Chuck K0DWC, and then I'll make a call out for the tail end of the first round. So. With that, equipment rundown, ART13, ARR7 receiver, inverted V, D104 microphone, about 250 watts carrier power, and that's my rundown. Oh, well, I'm shooting with an LS3 speaker. So, anyway, we'll send it over to Reno, to Mr. Mike with that great sounding BTA 250, W7MS, K0DWC. Go ahead, Mike.
Well, thanks, Chuck. K0DWC and the Nevada Military Net, AM style W7MS. Well, we'll say good morning to Bill, N6BCT, good signal. Henry, WA7YBS. You did threaten us with a carbon microphone on the ATD. It sounds very good. And putting in a good carrier with good modulation with your 40 watts here in Reno. So congratulations. Looking forward to your next transmission. Vern, congratulations on the antenna repair and additional improvements. And thanks, Chuck, for the comments on the RCA and, of course, the 74B ribbon microphone. Woo! Oh, boy. But, yeah, and no slight on Carla mentioning the second cup of coffee, but I know when she did NCS the last time, she was, you could see her energy level increase over time. She was dragging, so I'm glad she's there to break the rotation as number 3 and back again as a net control station, and giving the two guys a break and some great modulation from a female voice here when she's on the air. But yes, the RCA BTA 250M, 300 watts of carrier. And decided to enable the National HRO 500 this morning, which I have not used in an eon. I just look at it, and it's a pretty nice one. It came from the Hank Brown surplus collection via maybe a second party who was afraid to repair it, and I picked that up from a guy in Las Vegas 25 years ago. Who knows? It's a long time ago. Matching LF10 pre-selector, and the extremely hard to find matching HRO 500 speaker. I've mentioned this story over time, but it's been so many decades. But I was in Kansas City on a business trip and stopped by Associated Radio in Overland Park, Kansas, and there was the matching speaker for the HRO 500. They only wanted $75, but like all hams, I had to make a counteroffer, and the guy was incredulous. He goes, "Do you know how rare that is?" So, $75. You had to try. That was still a great buy. So it came home in my suitcase on that trip. Survived the trip home via baggage handling. So over to Vern. Take it away. K6VXY W7MS.
I gave it a little pause just in case someone was there. Yeah, as I was working on this K6VXY Groveland, it got the SB200. I did the signal support that forgot to Bill. But Mike, you're the strongest. You're 20 over. And then both Henry and Chuck are 10 over F9. That's the way they used it. So what I have now everywhere is like house wiring, number 12 wire with that white coating on it, whatever it is, rubber or something. And that's supposed to be squirrel-proof. So far it has been. So I put the other section on, and it's naturally resonant a little lower. It's a 60-foot length, so they're naturally resonant right about 3780. So I guess if you want to get into CW, I can do that. Very easy to tune up here at 3974. The FW without the tuner is 1.2, so I'm not going to mess with it. That's fine. But I do have to put more sections on it. I designed a new slingshot. Because the rubber on the slingshot was getting weak, I couldn't get up high in the tree like I'd hoped. So what I did is I hooked it up to the hoe. I had to sand down the handle. It was an older hoe, so I didn't get the slivers. But anyhow, I mounted it right on the hoe so I could use that as an arm stretched out and longer. So I shot way up. I think I'm higher than I've ever been. I don't do drugs. I'm higher with the antenna than I've ever been. I have to go check it today, but I think I'm somewhere up maybe 70 feet at the end. Because I used a little half-ounce weight, and it just kept climbing and climbing when I shot it with the hoe and the rubber that comes with the one you can get from HRO, probably a lot of places, Slingshot, you know, the fishing line thing. And I got some new line too. I got this 10 pound, which is, they consider the ideal. I guess that's what they ship with it. So it was fun. I only cut my arm a couple times. I got Band-Aids on it. But I have another section to put on there. It's the section that pulls it up. It used to pull it up high, but it's another thing that's got the wire rubber-coated rope on it to run over, just to pull it up and keep it up when the squirrels try to attack the line. So I've got some more things to do, but it's basically up. But it's only 32 feet up. I think I can get it up 40 feet. But this is pretty ideal. You guys are coming in really well. And that's it on the antennas. I got a new balun for it. You know, it's funny. Maybe you guys know, there's kind of like a white powder that forms on your connectors over time. And I don't think I've cleaned that up, those connectors. I'm going to put a new one on there or buy a new. I just might buy a new coax. I can take it down easy enough, and it only takes a day to ship it, and it's not real expensive. I use LMR 400, which is their upgraded version for RG8X. Is it Times? I forget who sells it. Oh no, I'm getting off track here. Okay. Anyhow, the little fan that's making the noise on the SB200. I'm going to do a real quick stop here. I'm going to cut the power and then come back on. Okay, this is me running 9 watts instead of the 90 watts. You might see quite a difference, but this is running without the linear on. And now I'm going to turn the linear back on. Okay, and this is with the linear on. So over to you, Mike, and very interesting on your travels as far as a ham radio goes and getting that HRO speaker for $75. That sounds pretty good. I got one. Of course, I lost all that stuff in the fire. I don't want to go into that, but I had the 140X by Hammerlin, and the matching speaker came with it, and the price was really good. So I didn't even haggle. So that was a loss, because it had a lot of good tuning on it for receive, and I really liked it. And it was in good shape. The owner was the original owner, and he didn't mess with it. He kept it looking nice, and there was I had a bunch of stuff there. She had a bunch of SB300s too, and it had AM on it. And I got my HRO Arc 5 from a year ago now, from the swap meet. That sits here between the 200 and then the tuner, just smiling. And one of these days I got to hook that up. It covers below 4 megahertz. I'm sure it comes down here and then up above, but I don't have any information. Maybe I should go online as far as making that thing go. I think it's a low power transmitter as far as I know, but I could use that to drive the SB200. So over to you, Mike. I'm sorry. Over to you, Henry. WA7YBS. Your 40 watts was, up there with Chuck. You were both 10 over, and I'll find out, Bill, what your signal report was when you're transmitting again. So it's K6VXY. And 2 weeks from now we go to daylight savings time. Ooh, that's going to be rough, because we'd have to be up an hour earlier, I think. I've got that worked out right. Over to you, Henry. That's K6BXY.
Okay, Vern. K6BXY, WA7, YBS. Well, very good. Everybody's quite strong in here. And, well, this LRBG2, you know, the carrier level meter on it is really not something you can believe. But everybody's driving the meter needle about straight up, which is normal. And Bill is coming in here good also. Say morning to Bill. And to Vern and to Mike and to Chuck. And yes, this carbon microphone that I'm using is not, you know, it's not that little, what is it, an R32 or something like that. That was the little Navy microphone with a button on top. This is the Shure 102C that I normally use for a carbon microphone. It's much better, bigger element and everything. So it's a better carbon microphone, a little bit newer too. So anyway, I hope that helps with the articulation that is sometimes missing with carbon microphones. And let's see, the ATD dynamotor deal, I really haven't, once I started running the dynamotor, the modulation problem sort of went away. I'm looking at it, and it looks on scope, and it looks like it's pretty symmetrical now. And I really think that running on the AC power supply was, you know, it was okay to get the ATD running and work out the problems. But it does seem to work much better on the dynamotor. It was designed for it, so what can you say? And so that's that. And incidentally, I don't have the one tuning unit that does the 1.5 to 3 meg. I have two broadcast tuning units, which are totally useless. But one of these days, some tuning units will show up for an ATD. Haven't seen any yet, but maybe they will one of these days. I'm looking for the 1.5 to 3 meg tuning unit and to put in this. And let's see, RBG2, Hammerland. It's a Hammerland HQ120X, the Navy version, which is different. One less tube, better designed circuit, Chicago transformers in it. Very, very nice, symmetrically sealed transformer. So it was really built for the Navy. Running that linear array antenna. Hope that helps. So with that, let me turn it to Bill, N6 PCT, WA7, YBS.
My class out of the front, which they didn't do good for. So I'll bring back my front, and do what happens. It's so good, and maybe you would have gone into it, I don't know. Anyway, that's the story here. And again, I did talk to John, but he's put them out there. There's a telephone. Anyway, so that's the story here. And so next to DWC,
Okay, Bill. Well, I had your Q5 there for a minute, and then it slipped a little bit, and then he came back, and I heard you say something about John, W6MIT. I hope he's doing all right. I think you said you talked to him on the phone, I believe. I think that's what you said. Like I said, I didn't get the full 100% transmission that time for whatever reason, but I knew you were there, that was for sure. But anyway, I hope John's doing well up there, and I hope he can listen to the net periodically if he has that ability. But anyway, John, if you're listening, we miss you, my friend, and want to wish you the best of everything. So, let's see if we've got any more. I know Dave's not going to be here. Dave's busy hunting. So let's see if there's anybody out there who wants to be number 5 for the Vintage Military Radio Net. Come now.
W6 Alpha, Quebec, Uniform, Montague.
Well, hi, Bob. All right, I've got you in the 5 spot, sir. Bill, N6BCT, when you're finished with your next transmission, you can send it to Bob. Well, forgive me, Bob. I've drawn a blank on your call sign. I know it, but do you think I can remember it? Go ahead and take it, Bob.
Okay, well, this is me. Morning, Chuck. Mike, Vern, Henry. BCT, you're really coming in good here this morning. Anyhow, we're over here a few miles from Mog, as Henry would know. The sun hasn't come up yet, but it's daylight. We ventured out into the shop this morning after feeding the dogs. And we're sitting here in front of this lettered D transmitter, putting a bunch of fire in the wire. So that's the show right here. Let's see. I can turn it back to, what's that guy's name over there in Dayton? I don't know. I will turn it back to you, Chuck. You keep the ball rolling here. My name is Bob. K0 DWCW6AQU.
Oh my goodness, Bob, I'm pitiful, man. I'm telling you. You know, as soon as I handed it over to you, I remembered your call sign. How stupid is that? Good night. W6 Able Queen Uncle. This is K0 DWC. All right, and my name is Chuck. Yeah. It ought to be Dummy. Good to hear you, Bob. You're sounding good this morning over there in Montague. Really good. So good to have you with us again this morning. Is there anyone else here? Let's see if there's number 6 out there. Want to be number 6? Check in now. Hey, there's Tom, W6TOM. Good morning, Tom. I've got you in the 6 spot, your Q5 copy. Go ahead and make a transmission, and then you can send it back up to me, K0 DWC. So W6TOM, go ahead.
I'm only running 20 watts per area. I'm actually testing out a radio that I just acquired that I will be selling to the kids in the loan business. I've got a schedule of 250, 20 watts per area, and I was interested in getting close to as far as the quality of light on it. So anyway, back to you. Stay here at DWC.
Okay, Tom. Well, the 20 watts is getting over here, no problem. You know, you're down a little bit from what you usually are, but I mean, your Q5 copy here in Dayton, I think that radio's running pretty good for you, really. Hopefully the other guys will give you a signal report as well. So I've got you in the number 6 spot, and you're coming in fine here at my QTH. So stand by there, and let me see if there's a number 7 out there. For the Vintage Military Radio Net. If you'd like to check in, come now. Okay, Tom. Well, when you're done with your next transmission, then you can just send it back up to me, and then I'll go from there. W6TOM. So with that, we'll go back up to the top and go to Mike, W7MS in the group. K0 DWC.
Well, thanks, Chuck. K0DWC and the vintage military net, AM style, Nevada style, W7MS. Well, good morning to Bob and Montague, doing quite well. W6TOM is suffering from signal to noise receive issues, but on the up fades, I think the audio sounds quite acceptable, so doing well with 20 watts and based on propagation and adjacent frequency activity. So fine, Henry, on the, yeah, you've got the special carbon microphone out, that's, I can tell. Your go-to Carbono, but sounding quite well, and again, congratulations, and glad we're moving the carrier level meter to the correct spot on the gauge there on the steam pressure. And of course, good morning to Bill. I think Bill is just relaying the fact he's going to talk to John today. It's that's essentially, I think, what Bill's conversation was. And Vern, good job on all. And your times wire coax possibly being ordered, and Chuck doing exceptionally well also as net control. So comments, yeah, Dave is off hunting, but when he mentioned that he'd be gone for essentially the month of October, I was chuckling that since I run a quail sanctuary in the back 40 here, that they've they've got it. They're okay. This is this is an area of you know, that's I guess you could live trap them, but that's about it. But they're quite active this time of year. And Henry, a low of 34 degrees this morning. So yeah, we finally, I think, hit the knee for seasonal temperature changes, and running out of time for auxiliary functions in the back workshop and some other late season to-dos on my to-do list, punch list. But it's progressing, and yes, the time change, well, it's always a challenge, and it's the one that I think most is universally disliked. The one in spring I look forward to for obvious reasons, because it's a positive experience, but this forthcoming one I would view as a negative event. But then again, that's only foretelling the months of winter. But with that, Vern, we enjoyed the background audio from that fan. It was quite prominent in your transmission. K6VXY, W7MS.
Okay. Thanks there, Mike. Yeah, I can hear it. And I guess this microphone's fairly sensitive. Yeah, that's a little, I guess it looks like it's made out of aluminum, but it must have some other metal in it, the fan, but it does have that aluminum oxide look to it. Anyhow, let's see, I turn the mic this way a little more. It won't pick it up as much. The signals, I got the new signal reports are all the same. Bill, Bob, and Tom are all S9. Although Tom's audio is weak. I guess he got a new call. I was thinking, I wonder if JVT is available, K6 JVT. My renewal comes up in a few years. I don't know if I'll do that, but if that's available, that would be the real initials. John is my first name, but I've never used it. My dad didn't want me known as Junior. Yeah, that's a quick story. Okay, so yeah, I know that it's going to be rough getting up another hour earlier, although today I did that. Maybe I'm practicing. Got my coffee and made sure my setup was still working, but it was a little too dark yet. I didn't get out there and look at the antenna where it went, but it really went up at the end of this thing for that big tree, and it should be squirrel proof, and it was before, because they don't seem to want to cut through copper wire or the rubber coating that covers that, so it's safe. It does eventually become nylon rope, or what do they call it, polyester rope, but that's way down the antenna, down at the bottom end, down at much lower level. But then I hook it to the tree. Got to change that because they did eat one where I'd hooked it to a hook on a tree, and you know, break it loose from that. I just use that to help bring it in, you know, bring it in, haul it up, hoist it up. I teased a local ham here that had a call sign that phonetically matched, what was it, hoisting new antennas, yeah. I need 4 letters. I would have to be hoisting new antennas again. And I was thinking about it yesterday. I always found, you know, I started with a crystal set, and I was always fiddling with the antenna to try to get more stations there in Castro Valley, which is near Hayward, but about 10 miles south of Oakland. And I eventually got a better crystal radio, and I wound up using that as a TRF, tune radio frequency. I use that to peak the response, and then I drove it into a 1-transistor radio. So I had a pre-selector, I guess you would call it, to get more AM stations. But I was always fiddling with that antenna, trying to make it higher and longer. And then I discovered ham radio a couple of years later, and I was fiddling with that 80-meter. It was an unusual design shown to me by a classmate. And what you do is you take some 300-ohm coax, and that's your feed. And that's 60 feet long, and then you have 30 feet on each side. So it's basically, you know, it's fitting a lot. Would tune 80 meters with a tuner that he knew how to set up. We were down at the local hangar, airport hangar city, I guess you call it, or whatever, and got some parts to put together a tuner. And it was pretty neat. Worked all over California on CW, early in '57. Okay, when Kobe, K-O-B-I, was still, K-O-B-Y, Kobe was still very popular. They stayed popular. They went off the air in 1960, thought that the music had changed. They explained that Wayne Newton had a #1 hit, or whatever. He did Blues, the Blues. And that music was changing. They were wrong, because it was just going into phase 2. Anyhow, over to Henry, WA7YBS. This K6VXY. We're applying. I didn't know I qualified for handicap parking. My wife's got osteoporosis, so we're going to go down and to AAA, where they'll do it on Monday, tomorrow, and get handicapped. That'll help a lot, because I kind of pushing it on the knee, and going up to that spot where I had to hook up the antenna, where it dropped down from the 70-foot tree, it's pretty steep back there, so I shouldn't do that. So, but I don't think I'll need that handicap spot till much after January. They said it's good a year, so that's fine. That'd be nice. Had an incident with the police because I illegally parked the other day, and I ran out there limping special with the cane, walking with the cane and really limping, so he didn't give me a ticket, and I moved it from an illegal spot, not a handicap spot, just you weren't supposed to park there at all, to a spot that opened up close by. Anyhow, I don't know why I threw that in, but I did. Over to Henry, WA7YBS, K6, and the group, K6VXY.
Okay, Vern. K6VXY, WA7 YBS. Right. Well, good copy on everybody, and good morning to Bob. Good morning to Tom. The TS520 sounds good here. Yeah, it's got good audio, and you know, you're not extremely strong, but Q5, and I guess at about S6 or so, and that's fine. But anyway, yeah, the audio sounds good on this end here. And let's see, Bob, yeah, next door to MOG. I just, I did a little NDB listening earlier this week. I started about 5:30 in the morning, and so things are quieting down. That's good. I was able to hear up into Canada, and of course, and down to Tucson, Arizona. So, and MOG, of course, is the top of the pile as far as being strong. I think that NDB runs 150 watts, so it's pretty potent signal here. And of course, our little one that we had, NO, there in Reno, that only ran 25 watts. And the one that was before that was SPK. That was in Sparks, and that was a Tweeb station, Tweeb NDB. It had voice, weather, and the MCW ID, but they went off the air in the 1980s. So anyway, they're on 251 kilocycles. And let's see, on projects, yeah, Mike, this cold weather, I had plans to do a repaint on an old SP600. I was going to pull the panel on it, and I was going to paint it Hammerland green, that old sage green that Hammerland used during World War II on the SP200s. I was going to redo the front panel in green, but I don't know. I don't think I'll be able to get the panel up and paint before we go down below freezing. So we'll have to maybe postpone that little project. So with that, let's turn it over to Bill. N6BCT, you were Q5 here last time, so let's see how you do. And we'll turn it over to you, N6BCT WA7 YBS.
Not laughing very well. This is a worker, and he's got those and stuff like that. And they didn't know how to fix these his phone did a little bit of voicemail. Because his voicemail is still that, and so he said, if you call him and check it on that,
Very good, Bill. Very good morning to you over there in Half Moon Bay. W68 Point Uncle here in MOG. 150 watt station. That's interesting, Henry. I wondered how much power they ran out there. Well, I've moved into the radio room in the main house. So we're kind of running low power here, 150 watts, something like that. Different exciter, transmitter final. So all stations are still coming in here like gangbusters. Exceptionally good conditions, I guess. I'm wondering how that's going to play out here in a couple weeks. Spring ahead, fall back. Who knows? All right. Well, Tom, I guess you always should talk better than you listen. Because, you know, what kind of an antenna you have down here, that's the wonder that it even works. But we always hear you well. But I'll kick it down to you. See if you can copy, Tom. W6GOM. This is W6 Alpha, Quebec uniform.
W6AQU, W6T all here. My main problem
75 meters is consistently an S7, and that's on a good day. Today, at least on this set here, probably should have turned my Icon 7300 on compared to Tool. It's S9, okay, and then I'm getting fades from people too, which isn't helping. As far as my antenna system is concerned, I actually put a small 50 by 100 Urban California watt. I have a very good antenna system, which I'll describe here in a second. In the back corner of my yard, 10 feet from the property line corner, I have a 60-foot derivative tree. That's the center support for my antenna. My antenna is at 45 feet. That's the center. One side of it is run basically down the property line. The other side is run diagonally across the yard to the property line on the other side. So it's a very sharp read. The antenna itself is set with 450 ohm window line. I'm using a outside 1600 downstream cable, which works excellently. And that antenna gives me coverage from 80 meters to 12 meters, all the bands in between. All I have to do is pick the appropriate speed chart and check it and set it up. So anyway, I'm going to take 73 from listen out on this, and I guess I hand this back over to Chuck. K0DWC W6QON.
Okay, Tom. Well, you were Q5 copy again that time, no problem. Actually, you sounded just a tad stronger this time than you did like on your first transmission. So I think that 520 is doing a good job for 20 watts. So, well, anyway, 7.3s to you, Tom. Thanks for joining us this morning, and come back as soon as you can on Sundays. So, okay, let me make a call out. See if there's anybody who wants to get on the tail end of the second round here and be number 7. If you want to be number 7, come now. Okay, nothing heard. So, okay, fellas, I guess we'll start the 7-3 round and go ahead and go through it, and then I'll button her up. So, with that, we will go back up top to Reno, W7MS in the group, K0DWC. Mike, have you heard anything from Ron? Go ahead.
Well, thanks, Chuck. K0DWC W7MS, 73s to Tom, and yes, he was definitely louder and improved signal to noise ratio at this location on his last transmission. So even more comments on the audio sounded quite exceeds expectations from what it's emanating from. Sounds quite well. And yeah, I haven't radio silent for Ron, but if we're being recorded, I'm sure he'll pull it up in the Azores here, so he should be around here maybe in time for Nevada Day and Halloween. But let me see, fine on painting projects, Henry. Yeah, I knocked out a quickie overspray on the cabinet for my Bendix MN26C. Well, actually, I thought it was a C. It says an MN26S, which isn't even recorded in the manual, but it has the accoutrements and frequency coverage of a 26C radio compass receiver. So that's one of my forthcoming winter projects. I've got the 1N4A directional meter and all the other goodies for it, and the DF antenna. So we'll play around with that. We'll just need the DC3 to see how well it works. But that's another subject. And let me see. Yeah, it's we're winding down for outside extraneous work, that's for sure. But and good luck on the in a short search for the required plug-in for the ATD. Yeah, you never know what shows up on Evil Bay. And as I often say, it may be a little stiff on the price based on swap meet expectations, but it's the other alternative for that item on eBay was probably a garbage can. So it's been a real plus for collectible odds and ends, especially with patience. And for example, the MN26C project, I bottom feeded over the last couple of years and have managed to collect all the pieces. And it should be fun. It's of no practical application. And Henry, thanks for the LF freak. Yeah, the weather here in Reno. I recall tuning into that. That was a memory refresher. I'd totally forgotten about that one. So you are great for archival information here on activity in the low frequency portion here in the Reno area. That's yeah. I remember that. I remember listening to that. But great on that. And maybe enough of the blither blather, but we'll say 73s. And it's time to heat up the mush, so to speak. Time to have breakfast. But 73s, and we'll listen through here. So, Vern, take it away. With Music of the America, 10 songs in a row, and the play time for each of those songs was probably 2 minutes, 15 seconds. K6VXY, W7MS.
Okay, Mike, thanks a lot there. And all the signals that drop, even Mike is 10 over. I checked the noise level here, and it's about an S8, so it's pretty noisy. I got the noise filter on, noise blanker, and the noise reduction. That makes a big difference. You can hear better. I hate to use noise reduction on AM, though. It seems something's wrong about doing that, but I hear better. Okay, so 73 to all, and we'll catch you next week, and hopefully in 2 weeks. We need sunset. We need sundown, because boy, the sun is the enemy of this group. That's for sure. But it'll probably be getting close to Christmas time, after Thanksgiving, but somewhere before that late in the year, I think, before the band conditions will be pretty good again, because the sun will be setting about a half hour earlier than it is right now. I'm sorry, the sun will be rising about a half hour later than earlier. Gee, come on, earlier. Good morning to all, and we'll catch you next week. This is K6 VXY in beautiful Pine Mountain Lake, saying 73 to all, and good net there, Chuck, and hopefully Carla will be back soon. That was neat having her around. I was used to that from Saturdays, so I was on that forever. So over to Henry, WA7YBS, who is also an excellent net control. This K6 VXY.
Okay, Vern, K6VXY, WA7 YBS. All right. Well, 73 to all. And let's see. Yeah, that SPK was. I used to listen to it on the Mold battery sets, and you know, there was like the IP501A and that kind of stuff. The chipboard radios that from the 20s that would tune down to 250 kilocycles. And I always wondered what that was. You know, I could hear the guy doing the weather, and you know, I could hear the MCW there in the background, SPK, and you know, it wasn't until years later, after it had gone off the air, that I figured out that that was Sparks, and the predecessor to RNO, which then was shortened to NO on 351 KC. But anyway, yeah, they're all gone now. Nevada has no NDBs, no active NDBs anywhere. So, progress, I guess. Anyway, everybody have a good weekend coming up. Well, the weekend's almost over. A good week coming up. And we'll hope to see everybody back next Sunday. 73, and we'll turn it over to Bill, N6 BCT, WA7YBS.
Okay, Bill, very good. Let me get myself back on frequency here. A sickle at a time. Oh, overshoot. Well, 17 Mike. Yeah. All right. And, half moon day. There's just me left here, Chuck. And Tom bailed. Well, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing with we're hurtling around the sun, or the sun's hurtling around us or something, but I always wondered what was on the other side, but the XYL says it's infinity. It goes for infinity. It never ends. Like Star Wars, I guess. I can't figure that out, but if it did end, what would be on the other side? So 73's from Montague. Down there to Tom, who's gone, but listening. So it goes back to you, Chuck. This is up. Thing 73 from Montague. K0D WC W6A
Okay, Bob. I apologize for having a, I guess I would call it a senior moment with your call sign. I've only known it for over 20 years, and you thinking that few seconds there, you think I could remember it? Heck no. But I sure do know it, so. W6AQU, okay, Bob. Good job. All the signals from everybody is still real good. And Carla is scheduled to do the net next Sunday, and then it goes back to Henry, and then it goes back to me, and just kind of does that. So the Carla should be net control on Sunday. So anyway, well, great net this morning, fellas. Bunch of good equipment. I don't think anybody doubled with anybody equipment-wise. So, you know, we had everything from a fantastic sounding broadcast transmitter to the ATD with a carbon mic and a mid-World War II transmitter with ART-13 and a couple of modern rigs. So a good scattering of different equipment. So good job there as well. So anyway, okay, fellas, I'm going to shut her down for today. I want to thank everybody for their participation and invite everyone back next Sunday morning. And I'll turn that frequency back over to regular use for anybody else who wants to use it. So take care, guys. Thanks for being there as usual. And we'll talk to you again next weekend. So this is K0DWC signing off 7-3s, and we will talk to you later. 7-3, guys.
Good morning, Chuck. We were reminiscing yesterday, back 20 years ago, you mentioned you were still working, driving home in the snow sometimes. Yeah, that was... You lived up in Virginia City, and Henry was down the road, or up the road. The days of TC. Good morning, Doll, from W6A Bull Queen Uncle.
Okay, Bob. Yeah. Yeah, it's been about 20 years on that, but I'm glad everybody's still around to be talking, so. Oh, man. Yeah, good memories there. Good memories all the way around with everybody. So you take care, my friend, and have a good day in Montague, and I hope the fog clears. K0DWC, I'll be signed. Heard a transmission out there. It was off frequency a little bit. I was trying to adjust my receiver. Could you come back on that, please?